In the vast galaxy, countless alien species lived together, each with their own unique abilities. Some had ships faster than light, others could read minds, and a few had weapons so powerful they could destroy entire planets. They called themselves the Elder Races and believed they were the peak of evolution. Then one day, a new species appeared. Humans. At first, humans seemed ordinary. They came from a small planet called Earth, located on the edge of the galaxy. Their ships were basic, their technology outdated, and their bodies fragile compared to the strength of other species. The aliens watched them with amusement. What can these tiny creatures possibly offer the galaxy? They said, laughing behind closed doors. But humans had something the aliens did not understand: ingenuity. The first time humans entered the Galactic Union, they were treated like children. Alien leaders ignored their opinions during important meetings, and no one offered them alliances. They even refused to share advanced technology, thinking it would be wasted on such a primitive species. But the humans didn't argue. Instead, they quietly observed. They attended meetings, listened carefully, and took notes on everything they saw. While the aliens underestimated them, the humans were learning. One day, a mining operation on the planet Zaris went terribly wrong. A group of alien miners had accidentally triggered an ancient alien defense system buried beneath the surface. Deadly robots emerged, attacking anything that moved. None of the elder races dared to interfere, as they feared losing their ships and soldiers to the powerful machines. To everyone's surprise, the humans volunteered to help. Why would they risk their lives for this? The alien leaders whispered among themselves. Some thought the humans were foolish, while others believed they were simply desperate to prove themselves. The humans didn't bring large fleets or heavy weapons to Zaris. Instead, they brought small teams with simple equipment. While the aliens watched from a safe distance, the humans carefully studied the robots' attack patterns. They used drones to distract the machines and hacked into their systems with basic tools. Within hours, the robots shut down completely. "How did they do that?" asked an alien general. A human commander smiled and said, "We just used what we had and figured it out." This victory caught everyone's attention. For the first time, the elder races began to realize that humans might not be as weak as they seemed. Years later, a dangerous enemy appeared: a massive alien empire called the Krathar. The Krathar were ruthless, conquering entire planets and enslaving their populations. They had technology far more advanced than any species in the Galactic Union. Even the strongest elder races couldn't stand against them. In desperation, the Galactic Union called a meeting to discuss their options. The aliens argued endlessly, each race blaming the other for the crisis. Meanwhile, the Krathar fleets moved closer and closer, destroying everything in their path. Finally, the humans stood up. "We have an idea," said one of their representatives. The room fell silent. The other aliens didn't expect much from the humans, but at this point, they were willing to listen to anyone. The humans explained their plan. Instead of facing the Krathar head-on, they would set traps in space using asteroid fields, abandoned ships, and electronic decoys. They would lead the Krathar fleets into these traps and slowly weaken them over time. At first, the aliens were skeptical. "That won't work," said a tall, blue-skinned alien. "Their ships are too strong." "Trust us," the human replied. "We fought wars before." Sometimes, it's not about being stronger, it's about being smarter. The humans' plan worked better than anyone expected. Using their small, fast ships, they lured the Krathar fleets into one trap after another. The Krathar ships got stuck in asteroid fields, their systems fried by EMP blasts, and their communication networks were hacked. While the Krathar struggled, the humans shared their tactics with the other Galactic Union members. Together, they launched a coordinated attack that pushed the Krathar back for the first time in years. The aliens were amazed. "How did you come up with this?" one of them asked. A human pilot grinned. "On Earth, we call it thinking outside the box." After the war, everything changed. The aliens no longer saw humans as weak or primitive. They now saw them as unpredictable, resourceful, and dangerous. The humans had not only survived, they had saved the galaxy. But with this new reputation came fear. The elder races began to wonder, if humans could defeat the Krathar with so little, what else are they capable of? Humans didn't mind the fear. They had proven their worth, not through brute strength, but through ingenuity. As they returned to their corner of the galaxy, one thing was clear: the universe would never underestimate humanity again. In the vastness of space, the Galactic Federation was the governing body of peace and order. It was made up of hundreds of alien species, all working together for prosperity. Some species had incredible strength, others could manipulate energy, and a few even controlled time. Yet, there was one species that remained a mystery to everyone: the humans. Humans had recently joined the Federation. They looked harmless, with no visible superpowers or extraordinary technology. They were polite, cooperative, and eager to learn. Most alien leaders dismissed them as weak and unimportant. But there was something about humans that made others uneasy. Even though they smiled and shook hands, their presence left an odd feeling in the room. Aliens whispered among themselves, "Why do they seem so dangerous?" No one had an answer. Zira, a young historian from the X-Aran species, had always been curious about humans. She found them fascinating, especially how they acted so confident despite being so ordinary. There must be a reason the Federation allowed them to join, she thought. What are they hiding? Determined to uncover the truth, Zira began digging into the Federation's archives. She studied old records of humanity's first contact with aliens and read every report she could find. Most of the information was standard: humans were adaptable, curious, and quick learners. But one file was classified, marked with a bright red warning: restricted access, authorized personnel only. Zira's heart raced. What could be so secret about the humans that it needed to be hidden? Using her connections, Zira managed to get access to the file. As she read through it, her eyes widened in shock. The document told the story of Earth's ancient wars, conflicts so devastating that entire cities were turned to ash. It described weapons capable of wiping out millions in seconds and humanity's relentless drive to survive, no matter the cost. According to the report, humanity's history was one of chaos and destruction. For thousands of years, humans fought amongst themselves over land, power, and resources. But every time they nearly destroyed their own civilization, they rebuilt it stronger than before. Their ability to learn from mistakes and adapt to any challenge was unmatched. More terrifying, however, was the humans' capacity for war. They didn't just fight to win, they fought to utterly dominate. The file even included a quote from a human general: "In war, we do not stop until there's nothing left to fight." Zira felt a chill run down her spine. The Federation had accepted humans not because they were peaceful, but because it was safer to keep them close than to leave them unchecked. The humans had promised they had changed, that they had left their violent past behind. But Zira now understood why the galaxy still feared them. Zira's fears became reality when a new enemy appeared: a species called the Draviks. They were brutal conquerors who refused diplomacy, attacking Federation planets one by one. Their ships were enormous and equipped with advanced weapons the galaxy had never seen before. The Federation tried to fight back, but the Draviks were too strong. Entire fleets were wiped out in days. Panic spread across the galaxy as the Draviks marched closer to the Federation's core worlds. During a desperate council meeting, alien leaders argued over what to do. "We cannot defeat them," said one. "We must surrender and hope for mercy." "We can't give up," shouted another. "We need a new strategy." Then, a human ambassador named Captain Allen spoke up. His voice was calm, but his eyes burned with determination. "Let us handle this," he said. The room fell silent. The other aliens stared at him in disbelief. "You? What can humans possibly do against the Draviks?" Allen smiled faintly. "More than you think." While the Federation debated endlessly, the humans got to work. They analyzed the Dravik ships, studying their weaknesses. They developed new tactics that other species hadn't even considered: hacking into enemy communication networks, setting traps in deep space, and using decoys to confuse the enemy. The humans also revealed something the galaxy had never seen before: a new generation of weapons. These weapons were small, fast, and devastatingly effective. Alien engineers were shocked. How did you build these so quickly? One of them asked. Alan simply replied, We've had practice. When the Draviks reached the Federation's capital, they expected an easy victory. Instead, they found chaos. Their ships were ambushed by human forces hiding in asteroid fields. Their fleets were scattered by electromagnetic pulses, rendering their advanced weapons useless. Human pilots fought with precision and bravery, striking fear into the Draviks. For every human ship that fell, 5 Dravik ships were destroyed. The battle was fierce, but by the end of it, the Draviks were forced to retreat. The Federation had won, but only because of the humans. After the battle, the Federation celebrated their survival, but the aliens couldn't forget what they had seen. The humans had saved them, but they had also shown what they were truly capable of. Zira watched as Captain Allen left the council chamber. She still felt uneasy around him, even though she knew he was a hero. Humans are the galaxy's greatest weapon, she thought. But what happens when that weapon turns on us? As humanity returned to Earth, they carried a new reputation. They were not just survivors, they were conquerors who had chosen peace. But the galaxy knew one thing for sure: if pushed too far, humans could unleash a power that no one could stop. The Galactic Council was a place of peace. For centuries, its member species had worked together to avoid war. They settled disputes with diplomacy, shared resources, and banned the creation of destructive weapons. It was a shining example of unity in the galaxy. Then the humans arrived at T first. The aliens were thrilled to meet a new species. Humans seemed friendly and eager to join the council. They brought stories of their home planet, Earth, a place full of art, music, and invention. But the council noticed something strange. Humans avoided talking about their history. Why did they stay silent about their past? A tall reptilian alien named Torek wondered. He wasn't alone in his curiosity. Rumors spread through the council chambers that the humans were hiding something. No1 knew how dark humanity's secret truly was. The council welcomed the humans into the galaxy and assigned them to peaceful tasks. They shared knowledge about agriculture, medicine, and space travel. But as the aliens got to know the humans better, they began to notice unsettling things. Humans had a strange way of thinking about conflict. When aliens argued, they sought compromise. When humans argued, they looked for ways to win. It's not about being right, a human diplomat once said. It's about being prepared. This attitude made the other species nervous. Still, they trusted the council's rules to keep humans in check. After all, war was outlawed in the galaxy. What harm could humans do in a peaceful system? Everything changed when the Zervans attacked. The Zervans were a rogue species that didn't follow the council's laws. They were brutal raiders who destroyed planets and enslaved entire populations. The council had no army, no weapons, and no strategy for dealing with them. Why would we need weapons? Torek asked at an emergency meeting. We agreed long ago that war only leads to destruction. The Zervans didn't care about peace. They invaded council territory, wiping out entire fleets of unarmed ships. Panic spread through the galaxy as more planets fell. The council was desperate. We must negotiate with the Zervans, one alien leader said. They don't want peace, replied a human representative named Commander Grace. If we don't fight back, they'll destroy everything. The council hesitated. They didn't know how to fight, and they certainly didn't want humans taking the lead. But they had no other choice. Very well, Torek said reluctantly. Humans, you may handle this crisis. The humans moved quickly. They didn't wait for permission or guidance. They began organizing the scattered council fleets, turning them into a unified force. When aliens complained about the humans' methods, Grace simply said, "Follow us, or stay out of our way." Humans started building weapons, simple but deadly. They taught other species how to fight, drilling them in strategies that the council had never even imagined. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy prepared for war. The Zervans were confident. They thought the council was weak and unprepared. But they underestimated humanity. The Zervans launched an attack on a key planet, expecting no resistance. Instead, they were met by a human-led fleet, equipped with new weapons and clever tactics. The humans had studied the Zervans' weaknesses, and exploited them perfectly. The battle was fierce. Alien soldiers, trained by humans, fought bravely alongside their new allies. Human pilots flew daring maneuvers, drawing the Zervans into traps. One by one, the Zervan ships were destroyed. For the first time, the galaxy saw that the Zervans could be defeated. The Council was amazed. "How did you do it?" Torek asked Commander Grace after the battle. Grace smiled grimly. "We've been fighting wars for thousands of years. This is what we do best." With each victory, the humans gained more respect and more fear. Other species began to realize just how skilled humans were at war. They didn't just build weapons and fight battles, they planned, adapted, and found ways to win even when the odds were against them. The Zervans launched one final assault, throwing everything they had at the Council's capital. It was their largest fleet yet, and even the humans knew it would be a tough fight. Grace led the defense, using every tactic she had learned from humanity's long history of war. She set traps, created decoys, and used smaller ships to outmaneuver the Zervan behemoths. The battle lasted for days, but in the end, the humans and their allies emerged victorious. The Zervan threat was over. After the war, the Council celebrated humanity's bravery. They had saved the galaxy, but they had also shown the galaxy something terrifying. Torek stood in the Council chamber, watching Grace as she spoke to the assembly. She was calm and confident, but he couldn't shake the feeling that humans were far more dangerous than they appeared. What happens when they turn their weapons on us? He wondered silently. The other alien leaders shared his unease. Humans were no longer seen as the peaceful newcomers. They were the masters of war strategists, warriors, and survivors who could dominate any battlefield. Humanity returned to Earth, knowing they had secured their place in the galaxy. But they also knew the truth. The galaxy feared them now, and that fear would never go away. For humans, that was fine. They didn't need to be loved or trusted. They just needed to be ready for the next fight, because history had taught them one thing. In the end, survival comes down to who's prepared for war. The galaxy was vast, filled with wonders and dangers. Among all the threats that the Galactic Federation faced, none were as terrifying as the void and uncharted region of space where nothing behaved as it should. Stars vanished, ships disappeared, and time itself seemed to twist. No one dared to enter the void, not even the bravest species in the galaxy. The Federation declared it off limits, warning all to stay away. They called it cursed. But when an unknown force emerged from the void, threatening the galaxy, there was only one species reckless enough to face it. The humans. It began with strange signals. The Federation's most advanced sensors detected them coming from deep within the void. At first, the Council ignored it. "It's just background noise," said one scientist. But soon, the signals grew louder, forming patterns. They weren't random, they were messages. Then, the attacks started. Ships near the void were destroyed by shadowy figures. Entire planets on the edge of Federation space were left in ruins. Survivors spoke of ghost-like ships that appeared out of nowhere, armed with weapons no one had seen before. The Federation was paralyzed with fear. No species had ever dared to explore the void, and no one knew how to fight its horrors. At an emergency meeting, the Council debated endlessly about what to do. "We cannot fight an enemy we do not understand," shouted one leader. "But we cannot allow the void to consume us," argued another. ASE, the Council bickered. A human representative named Captain Elena Rook stood up. "We'll go," she said calmly. The aliens turned to her in shock. "Are you mad? No one comes back from the void." Elena's gaze was steady. "Humans aren't afraid of the unknown. We'll figure it out." The humans prepared for their mission with grim determination. They had always been explorers, pushing beyond the limits of their knowledge. Earth's history was full of stories about facing the impossible, surviving plagues, crossing dangerous seas, and landing on the moon. "We've faced worse," Elena told her crew. "The void is just another frontier." Human scientists worked around the clock, designing ships that could withstand the strange physics of the void. Engineers built engines that could adapt to sudden shifts in gravity and shields that could block unknown energy waves. Other species watched in disbelief. Why are they so confident? Torek, a reptilian diplomat, asked his advisor. The answer was simple. Humans thrived on challenges. The more dangerous the mission, the harder they worked. When the human fleet entered the void, the galaxy held its breath. The swirling darkness swallowed the ships, and for a moment, it seemed like they had disappeared. Inside the void, everything was chaos. Stars flickered like dying candles, and planets floated in strange orbits. Time itself felt wrong. Hours passed in minutes, and some parts of the ships aged faster than others. But the humans adapted. They used their advanced technology to map the void's strange patterns and predict its dangers. More importantly, they relied on their instincts. Trust your gut, Elena told her crew. Machines can fail, but human intuition never does. As they ventured deeper, the humans discovered something terrifying. The void was alive. The signals were coming from a massive sentient entity, an ancient intelligence that had been trapped in the void for millennia. It called itself the Nihal. The Nihal was furious at the galaxy for abandoning it. It had been a ruler of stars once, a being of immense power. But when it grew too dangerous, the ancient civilizations had cast it into the void, locking it away. Now the Nihal wanted revenge. It had created an army of shadow ships, using fragments of itself to power them. These ships were the ones attacking the galaxy, and the Nihal wasn't going to stop until it escaped the void. Elena and her crew realized the truth. If the Nihal escaped, it would destroy everything. We can't let that happen, Elena said. We have to stop it here. The crew looked at her, uncertain. How can we fight something so powerful? One asked. Elena's voice was steady. We're humans. We've faced extinction before. We don't run from a fight. The humans launched an attack on the Nihal's core, a massive, pulsating structure hidden in the center of the void. The battle was unlike anything they had ever faced. The shadow ships moved like ghosts, disappearing and reappearing without warning. The Nihal's energy waves tore through shields and scrambled systems. But the humans didn't give up. They used everything they had learned about the void, predicting the enemy's movements and turning the environment against them. When the Nihal created gravity traps, the humans used them to slingshot their ships into better positions. When the shadow ships swarmed, human pilots flew in perfect formations, covering each other. Elena led the charge, piloting her ship straight into the heart of the Nihal's core. If this is what it takes to save the galaxy, she said, then so be it. With a final burst of energy, the humans destroyed the core. The Nihal screamed as its energy dispersed into the void. The shadow ships vanished, and the void began to collapse in on itself. The humans barely escaped, their ships damaged but their spirits unbroken. When the human fleet returned, the galaxy erupted in celebration. The Federation declared them heroes, but there was also a sense of unease. Torak watched Elena from a distance as she spoke to the council. They didn't just survive the void, he thought. They conquered it. Humans had proven once again that they were different. They weren't the strongest or the smartest species, but they had something no one else did, the ability to face the impossible and win. From that day forward, humans were known as the Void-Tamers. They had done what no one else dared to do, and the galaxy would never forget it.